Welcome back to Biology in Your Backyard. I'm Dr. Mark Johnson.
I'm Tarek.
I'm May.
And I'm Oscar.
And today we're going to be talking about poor pollution. Now, May and Oscar, and boys and girls at home, did you know that there's actually 5 types of pollution? And here they are. Number 1, air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution. Now, those are the 3 obvious ones. But there's 2 that you may not have thought about before, and they are light pollution and noise pollution. And today we're going to talk about each one of these types of pollution.
Pollution is defined as any substance or thing in or added to the environment that can have a harmful effect on the environment and organisms. Air pollution occurs when we add substances to the air, many of which can be toxic. For example, these emissions from this steel plant, or the emissions from these cars and trucks. And Tamarak's going to do an experiment for us to see what's coming out of our cars when we're driving around.
Hi everybody. We're setting up a pollution experiment today with the car. So I have a white piece of cardboard, poster board, and I'm going to smear some petroleum jelly on part of this cardboard and set it up in front of the car exhaust. And I'm going to turn the car on for a little while, and then we're going to see how much pollution is coming out of the car. I've got my experiment set up now. I've used these 2 bricks to prop the piece of cardboard standing in front of the exhaust pipe, which is just here. And there is Vaseline from about here to here on my white cardboard. So now I'm going to turn the car on for 5 or 10 minutes and we'll see what we end up with. Okay, so I've had the car on for 10 minutes. You ready to see what the results of our experiment are? Here we go. Wow. I'd say that's pretty definitive.
Now let's see what this looks like under the microscope. I've got the cardboard set up under my dissecting scope. Now let's go in and take a look. Oh, wow, look at all this. I see so much black material. This is uncombusted carbon and additives to the fuel, some of which are toxic. That's pretty gross. Ugh.
So this was 10 minutes. Think about all the cars on the road and how long they're on the road. And what might that look like if you gathered it all up and put it in one spot?
Anything that we put into this water, whether it be chemicals from industry that's going into the water, runoff from storms, or even agriculture, can go into this water and influence the organisms that live in here. And one of those types of pollution can be actually material waste, like plastic. So let's see what we can do to clean up this river together. One of the big problems with plastic is it takes a really long time to break down, thousands of years. And the plastic particles keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and organisms can in fact ingest them, and it can potentially negatively affect those organisms. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and clean up some of the plastic waste in our river right here. So we're going to need some acetonitrile gloves to keep ourselves safe. Here's 2 for you. Here's 2 for you. I've got 2. And we're also going to use a compostable bag here, which we're going to put everything in. And we're going to try and clean up this river together. Let's do it.
So here's what we found in just 100 meters. Look, we have plastic bottles, Tim Hortons cups, snack wrappers. We even found medical masks, which are a byproduct of the pandemic, bits of plastic, and even some towels and lip balm wrappers. Yuck.
Please don't forget, if you're going outside into the park, this is where your garbage belongs, and this is where your recycling belongs.
Soil pollution occurs anytime the soil gets contaminated, and this can happen in a lot of different ways. For example, the runoff from a landfill can get into local water and in the soil, and also different types of mining operations, like this mining for oil, as well as other types of mining. And it can also happen from chemical spills. And one of the big problems with soil contamination and pollution is that it can take a long time to clean up this mess. So it's best to try and prevent it from happening in the first place.
Let's learn about light pollution. First, let's see how much light there is inside our house. And then, let's see how much light there is outside our house.
So this light meter tells us how much light humans can perceive. So in this room, it measures 30. For comparison, this is what partial sun looks like. It measures over 16,000. So as you can see, we have a lot of lights outside. You can see we have one here, we have one there, we have even one over there. And now we're going to see how much light they produce.
Under one of our outside lights, it measures 97. This is even more than it measured inside our kitchen.
Right now it's nighttime and you can barely see us.
However, if you look off into the distance, you can see the glow on the horizon caused by light pollution from the local city.
So if we look up into the sky and look for stars, we can see some. There's one. There's another. But a lot of these stars are hard to see out there. Most of them we can't see because the light pollution has blocked them out, making it difficult for us to see the huge diversity of stars up there.
If we could get rid of that light pollution, this is what that sky would look like.
Okay, here I am under the street light in front of our house.
And I have found a toad that's hunting for insects right underneath this light. This is a common phenomenon where things like toads and even bats will use artificial lights because it's easier for them to find their food. Now, if we look at what insects are coming to the lights outside of our house, we can see that there's a few insects, like this June beetle here. It's being attracted by the light. What else can we find? Oh, I spot this fly right here. I'm not sure what type of fly it is. Let's see if we can get in focus. There it is. And there's this midge that came out from the local river. Ah, and here's a caddisfly. But let's look at that light again. Notice how there's actually not that many moths. In fact, what scientists have recently found is that within cities, moths are in fact less attracted to light compared to moths out of that city. In other words, light pollution is changing the behavior of organisms in cities. That's pretty wild.
But one of the issues with light pollution is that it can actually really make it difficult for organisms to sleep. So think about if you have light coming in through your window, it's often hard for you to sleep. The same thing is true for many animals outside. If they have artificial light produced by humans, many of them actually sleep much less, and therefore they're less rested, and this may influence the health of those organisms. Now we're going to learn about noise pollution. This is pollution that we create through noise, through our factories, through our cars. And I'm going to go around here, around our community, and I'm going to use a decibel meter. This measures how loud it is on my phone. And so you can see I'm talking right now, and it's reading about, just the background noise is about 45, and when I'm talking, it's about 50 to 70. And so let's see how noisy things get around our neighborhood.
Now I'm on a sidewalk on a street close to our house, and as you can tell, it's really noisy. It measures up to 89 decibels. Anything over 90 decibels can damage your hearing if you're in there for too long. Now I'm on a hill 50 meters back from a highway close to our house, and even though I'm a little ways back, it's really loud. It measures up to 81 decibels from where I'm standing. And if I was down there by the road, it would be even louder. Let's go somewhere where it's a little quieter. Okay, I've moved back 100 meters into this forest in Riverwood Park, and I can still hear that highway. It's now 65 decibels. This is still too loud for me. Now we're in this beautiful garden, 350 meters from both of those two roads that we were just at, and it just measures 46 decibels. Although I can still hear the road, it's a lot quieter.
So of course there's a couple of problems with noise pollution. First of all, it's not very good for us. It can damage our hearing if it's too loud. It can make it hard to sleep or even to relax. The other issue with noise pollution is for the animals outside. One of the issues with this noise pollution for animals is that they just don't like it, and they'll avoid those areas with the roads and the highways because it's just too noisy for them. For those few animals that do still live by those roads, they have to work even harder to be heard. So for a bird that's trying to sing to attract a mate, it's been shown that they have to sing louder and often at a different frequency, so making their voice be either higher or lower to be able to be heard by the other birds in the territory. This can be a big problem, and it can actually reduce their ability to reproduce successfully. And now for your nature fact of the day. Did you know that because of COVID-19 and all the shutdowns that are happening all over the world, that pollution, air pollution, has actually been reduced? All over the world, we see air pollution lessening because there's fewer people and fewer trucks on the road and less industry. Maybe this could be a model for how we can actually reduce pollution through the world and slow down climate change. Let's try.
We hope you've enjoyed this video on poor pollution. Thanks for joining us.
Now you go and do your part to help cut down on the pollution around you.
Let us know in the comments down below what you were able to achieve.
And subscribe to Biology in Your Backyard if you want to see more content like this.
See you next
next
time.